Welcome to a very special episode of The Collector's Corner, brought to you by the Washington Arms Collectors. This is a very special episode because it is multi-chapter and you have the opportunity to write one of the chapters. Please go to comments and ask your questions about any of the chapters in this episode, or if you desire the privacy of the confessional, go to my email account. Go to jamesatthewack@gmail.com and leave your questions there. Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the Armed Citizen, Chapter 2, The Collecting Context. What sort of guns would Mr. Sherlock Holmes have owned? And what sort of guns can a collector pick up that could have been the guns of Mr. Holmes? Well, we know from a story which was published in about 1900 that Mr. Sherlock Holmes refers to his firearm as my old favorite. Now, I would like to suggest three possible revolvers. They are solid frame revolvers, and we talked about that in the first episode, what a grand and glorious time Holmes was alive in, and what splendid revolvers would be available to him. Now let's take a look at three possibilities of the revolver of Mr. Sherlock Holmes. We'll take them from number 3 all the way up to the hit number 1, all right? Number 3, we start with the Webley number 5 360 Express. Why is it called an Express? Well, Webley's other 38 revolvers had cartridges which only contained approximately 10 grains of black powder. This contained 18 grains of black powder in its 360 cartridge. Hence, like a Express double rifle, it's called the Express. Now, it has the charming church steeple fluting. If I hold it like that, can't you see it looks just like a little church steeple? It has a lanyard ring, very useful for keeping control of your revolver. It is both single and double action. Actually, it has a rather good trigger pull, and I've done some good shooting with this. It has a fairly good sight picture with a German nickel front sight. Now, might this have been the gun of Mr. Sherlock Holmes? Certainly some movie makers have thought so. In the 2009 production of Sherlock Holmes starring Robert Downey Jr., they had a nickeled Webley's number 5 360 revolver as Mr. Holmes' revolver. But if this is to be Holmes' old favorite, it has to be available in 1880. For it was in 1880 that Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, his colleague, shot the murderous Andaman Islander off the back of a steam launch. Unfortunately, the Webley's number 5 360 probably dates from slightly later than that, and I think the earliest catalog mentioning of it is about 1885, 1886. Number 3 possible revolver. Now, our number 2. Our number 2 possible revolver is a variant of the Webley's Royal Irish Constabulary revolver. The RIC platform was a bit like the Windows software platform. You could have a variety of versions of it. This is the RIC Model 83. It is also single and double action. It is compact, easily concealable. This is not in 38 caliber, but it is in .455, so it'd be a hard-hitting revolver. It has a lanyard ring to help you hang on to your revolver. Now, could this have been the revolver of Mr. Sherlock Holmes? Certainly the sight picture is exciting. You could certainly pick an Andaman Islander off the back of a steam launch with it. Unfortunately, it is the Model 83 and first became available in 1882 or 1883. Probably not old enough to be a Holmes' old favorite. And now we go to the number 1 possibility of Mr. Sherlock Holmes' revolver, which is the Webley Metropolitan. It's called the Webley Metropolitan because it was adopted by the Metropolitan Police Force of London. It is also in .45 caliber, the .450. It is a 6-shot revolver in double or single action. It is a revolver with lovely ergonomics. It feels wonderful in the hand. And in fact, Boothroyd refers to it as the best police revolver that ever was. It has a great double or single action trigger pull. I think this is about 5.5 pounds. Of the revolvers we've gone through, it is probably the most accurate. Now, it was adopted by the London Metropolitan Police as their official revolver. Could a model of this have been the revolver of Mr. Sherlock Holmes? There's a fascinating little feature here, which if you come up close, you can see right here, there are manacled hands depicted, which indicates the triumph of good over evil. Certainly a Sherlock-worthy bit of engraving there. But the Webley Metropolitan was only adopted in 1883. Now, the incident, as we said, with the Adamant Islander bringing a blowgun to a gunfight was probably 1880. However, there were available versions very similar to the RIC prior to that, and this is one of those versions. It has the same configuration as the Webley Met, roughly the same weight, the same balance, and the same accuracy. It was not the official police revolver, but something like it could have been adopted by Mr. Sherlock Holmes. It is single and double action with a remarkably smooth trigger pull. This particular model was retailed by Trulock and Harris, and they were an early dealer in Webley revolvers. This would have been available prior to 1880. So, certainly, this could have been the revolver of Mr. Sherlock Holmes. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Collector's Corner. Please stay tuned for the next chapter, which is going to be Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the Armed Citizen, Chapter 2, Part 2, Watson's Service Revolver. And until then, keep your powder dry, your money ready, and both eyeballs skun for those fascinating bargains and historical items you might find on the tables of the Washington Arms Collectors or our sister organization, the Oregon Arms Collectors. Thank you very much.